everyone. I am so happy to have you here at Brain Health pour la Vie. I am so happy to be back after a few weeks. I took a few weeks off in August to spend some quality time with my family and my children before school actually started. So now I am back and just eager and excited to be here and share with you all my knowledge regarding food and what we can do to improve your mental well-being on a daily basis. I have to admit, this summer was a strange summer for our family. I think the key word of the day for us was flexibility. We had to be flexible to navigate the different change of events and disappointments that kind of happened here and there. One of the main events of the summer was that we actually lost one of our cats who got hit by a car. It was tough, and I had never lost an animal like that. However, we now have a baby kitten as an addition to our family. Maybe if you're lucky, he will come and see me throughout this video and I'll be able to introduce you to her. She's actually a her. So, however, today I am here to share with you 7 food and lifestyle tips that I know will help your ADHD child or adult with their mood swings. Now, why am I focusing on ADHD today? It's basically because I'm noticing more and more parents are struggling with dealing with their child's diagnosis with ADHD. More and more children are being diagnosed, and having 2 children of my own who with these struggles, I thought I'd be addressing a few tips that I have found helpful, and I'm hoping will be helpful for you as well as a mother, but also as a nutritionist. However, if you don't have the ADHD, whatever I will be sharing with you today definitely can improve your mood swings and your mental health. These are basic tips, but they are essential, and I'm finding that people are just not implementing them. So are you ready? Let's dig into today's topic. Okay, so first of all, I like to start with the question: do you struggle with your child's daily mood swings? Do you find it frustrating in the morning to deal with their behavior, or actually apprehend when they'll be coming back from school, not knowing what to expect in terms of behavior or just attitude, or what to expect in general? Or actually, do you sometimes feel that your child has hidden potential that he or she just can't seem to access because they're spending so much time dealing with their emotions? Well, if you find yourself in, if that sounds like you or that sounds like your family, I completely get it, okay? That's why I'm here today. And before moving on though, I do want to make something very clear. I love my children and I love spending time with them. However, when they are nutrient deficient for whatever reason, like for instance, if they came home from school and they're just hungry, or I'd rather say hangry, or maybe it's because they woke up in the morning to an empty stomach, or they refuse to eat a proper breakfast in the morning, or maybe it's because they just ate a whole bunch of junk food throughout the day. Whatever the reason is, if they are nutrient deficient, I can tell. And I would rather be cleaning or doing the dishes or doing the laundry than having to spend my time dealing with their tantrums, dealing with their mood swings and intense behavior. I'm completely honest. So that's why these tips are so essential in our family, and why I want to share them with you, because I know that I am not the only one. Okay, so I've got my notes here. I want to make sure I don't forget anything. Alrighty. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Julie Gervais, and I am a registered holistic nutritionist at Brain Health pour la Vie, which stands for Brain Health for Life. So you can have a healthy brain for the rest of your life, but also so you can feel fully alive every single day of your life. That's what it stands for. Okay. And why today's topic, I've been dealing with these struggles for years, and I'm still dealing with them on a daily basis. So as a mother of 3 very intense children, and also as a registered holistic nutritionist, I want to be sharing these 7 tips with you so you can make a difference in your child's life. Okay, these tips will not only help their mood swings, they will also help him or her feel better and more in control. They will help mood stability and just be more successful in everything they do in their life, at school and at home, and their relationships. So let's dig into these 7 tips. Are you ready? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. I would love to see you interact and just know that you're there. It's if not, this is the beauty of Facebook. You can watch these videos anytime that you have a little bit of time on your hands to sit down. So tip number 1, move away from processed foods and move towards whole foods. Now, why, you're probably asking, why would I cook from scratch? Or I don't have time to cook. I work all day. Well, by taking the time to cook a homemade meal, you are giving the gift of nutrients and to your children. You are giving the gift of life to your family. Now, I realize that taking the time to prepare a homemade meal, it's not always easy. We don't always find the time. But if you're not taking that time, you are doing a disfavor to your family and children. I'm just being completely honest here. By preparing your own food, you are controlling the quality and the freshness of the food that you're eating. You're controlling the consumption of GMOs, of MSGs, of food coloring, of flavor enhancers that we find in processed foods. Okay, and moving away from convenience, yes, it can require some time and effort, but it is worth it. It is absolutely worth it in the long run. Trust me on this one. So, and according to research and studies, ADHD kids are more susceptible to reacting to sugar and to reacting to food coloring and flavor enhancers that we do find in processed foods. So for this reason, it is even more important to take the time to move towards whole foods as much as possible. And in my book, the label that you should be looking at is not the nutritional value label of the package that you're buying. It's the actual list of ingredients. If there's an ingredient on that list that you don't know what it is, you should be putting it away on the shelf. That's it. And teach your kids to start reading labels as well. Make it a game. Ask them if they know what these ingredients are on the label. Just become more and more aware of what you're eating. Now, I realize for some of you, this might be overwhelming, and I am not asking you to change overnight. For some of you, going cold turkey is the only way to go, and for others, it's a process. And that's what you have to remember. Changing your family's dietary habits is a process. It's not an end goal. I am still working at changing my family's dietary habits. It's not perfect right now, okay? I have to be honest. I have got a child who is addicted to sugar. That's why we have very little sugar in our house. And whatever we do have, he seems to be able to find it. He's got this sixth sense for sugar. So yeah, I'm just being honest. This is, we're not perfect. So it's a process, and you have to keep reminding yourself of that. And every little effort counts. Okay. So whatever works best for you. If you rather go cold turkey and just do that kitchen cleanse and remove everything, or just do it one step at a time. Make one change a week, one change a month, whatever works for your family. Tip number 2, eat macronutrient balanced diet. Now, what do I need? What do I mean by a macronutrient balanced diet? Let me explain, okay? When you're eating foods, foods are found in have three categories of macronutrients. You've got proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Now, when I'm talking about carbohydrates, I'm more specifically talking about complex carbohydrates, which are filled with fiber. Okay. Now, if you are dealing with mood swings, for whatever reason, it's crucial to focus on balancing your child's blood sugar level or your blood sugar level if you're dealing personally with mood swings, because without going too much into detail, blood sugar imbalances is a key factor in mood swings. As simple as that. So if you're dealing with this, you want to make sure your child's blood sugar levels are balanced as much as possible. So how do you do this? You macronutrient balance their meals and snacks. So as I mentioned, there's only three macronutrients. There's protein, there's fats, and there's carbohydrates. So the trick is to actually have all three macronutrients present in every meal and every snack. So protein is especially essential to balance blood sugar. And protein is also essential to build and create those neurotransmitters, those messengers that we need to stay happy and just calm, those happy messengers, let's just say, that our brain, that are created in our gut and our brains, okay? So we need protein for that. Fats are essential for energy and brain health. Our brain is mostly made out of fats, so we need healthy fats to nourish it. And finally, carbohydrates, especially complex carbohydrates. We need the complex carb because they are full of fiber, and the fiber is what allows the slow release of glucose into our bloodstream. We want glucose, which is the end product of carbohydrates. We want glucose to be released slowly into the bloodstream so we can always have balanced blood sugar levels. Okay, and that is key, absolutely key to mood swings and mental health. So I can't emphasize that enough. Okay, so it's simple. You got three carbohydrates, three macronutrients: proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Tip number 3, go gluten-free. So I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. Some of you are saying, but I love pasta, I love pizza, I love bread. How can I go gluten-free? Or my family would never be on board with this. Or my children would never forgive me if I even considered going gluten-free in our family. Maybe some of you don't believe in gluten. You think it's a fad. So whatever reason, you're probably not on board with me for this one. I have to explain. I completely understand, and I don't expect anybody to go gluten-free overnight. First of all, it's a process, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, it takes time. Secondly, you are probably wondering why you should go gluten-free. That's probably the main question that you've got for me right now. Well, what if I told you that gluten is highly inflammatory, no matter if you are sensitive to gluten or not? According to research, gluten is a highly inflammatory grain for everyone. And so why, you're probably wondering, why do our grandparents and our ancestors, why did they eat gluten and bread and never had a problem? Well, without going into much detail, I just want to say that our grandparents and ancestors were not exposed to gluten like we are today. Gluten is everywhere, even in our personal care products, okay? In addition, the gluten that our parents and grandparents ate is not the gluten that we are consuming today. Two very different grains. So those are the main reasons. I can go in much greater detail, but not in this live, Facebook Live. It'll be a subject for another video. However, gluten, casein, which is the protein found in milk, as well as soya, can increase inflammation in your body, and some are more susceptible to these grains and to these proteins than others. Okay, and they also, what they do is they send chemicals to the brain, the gluten or the casein, or some is the soya as well, the proteins. These proteins specifically will send chemicals to the brain that can produce behavior disorders in children. That needs to be considered, okay? So ADHD children, according to research, there seems to be a correlation as well between these children and their level of sensitivity to gluten. So this definitely needs to be taken seriously. So I recommend, if you are dealing with mood swings or any behavior issues with your child, or if your child was diagnosed with ADHD, I highly recommend that you try going gluten-free for at least a month. Make it a challenge. See it as an experiment. It's not for the rest of your life. Just see it as, let's just try this out and see what happens. See if you see a difference. And like I mentioned, make it a game with your family. You can reward yourselves at the end, whatever it takes to get people on board for 1 month. I highly, highly recommend it. I would love to hear from you if you do decide to do this, and that if you do see some differences. Okay. Tip number 4, eat the colors of the rainbow. And when I say that, basically it's eating a plant-based diet. That's what it means. When I say the colors of the rainbow, I truly mean the colors of the rainbow. The more colors that your child has in his or her plate, the more that they are exposed to antioxidants, which are building their immune system and protecting them from illnesses, the more that they are being exposed to nutrients. What else? By having a plant-based diet, you are also reducing inflammation, because naturally plants are anti-inflammatory. And finally, increasing the presence of colors will also help with balancing blood sugar, because the colors is increasing the presence of plants, vegetable-based diet and fruits. You are increasing the presence of fiber, and fiber is absolutely needed to balance blood sugar levels. Okay, you can be creative. Have a chart on your refrigerator with all the colors of the rainbow, and each column you will have different colors and the fruits and vegetables that are that correspond to those colors. And every time your child eats one of the colors of the rainbow, they can tick off the box. Make it a game. Be creative. I have one of similar chart on my refrigerator. So depending on the age, it can even for older children as well, you can get them on board with this. Tip number 5, decrease your daily family exposure to chemicals. Now, when I'm talking about harmful chemicals, I'm talking about pesticides, herbicides, insecticides that we find in our food more and more today. I'm talking about GMOs. Now, I'm not here to create a debate on GMOs, but we don't know. They have not been in the market long enough for us to know if they are harmful or helpful to our health. So until we know that for sure, I highly recommend we avoid them as much as possible. MSG, it's also, I'm talking about artificial flavors and artificial colors that we find in food, which ADHD children tend to be more sensitive to and react to. Sugar, a lot of processed foods, and a lot of sugar is actually chemicals that we find in our foods. So I'm talking about also using eco-friendly cleaning supplies and laundry detergent and natural self-care products as much as possible. We tend to forget that our skin is one of our largest, is the largest organ in or on our body. So we absorb a lot of chemicals and toxins just by through our skin. So that needs to always be highly not forgotten. Basic. Okay. What else? Avoid toxins found in soft plastic. So if you're buying a water bottle, you should not be reusing that water bottle to drink water. You should be throwing it away. Ideally, not buying water bottles, but having your own bottle at hand at all times. Avoid dryer sheets, plug-in air fresheners. These are all full of toxins. And the more you're exposed to toxins in your environment, the more you're creating harm to your hormonal system. So your hormonal system and your child's hormonal system is essential to is key in to their mood swings. Okay, you need to always how would I put it? Your child's hormonal system is key to helping them balance their emotions. They're very interconnected. So whatever is impacting their hormones will impact their emotions. Tip number 6, sleep, sleep, sleep. I can't emphasize it enough. Unfortunately, kids these days are not getting enough sleep, and parents and adults in general don't seem to understand how essential sleep is to the health of our brain and our mental health and just our physical health as well. I have to share with you something. Let's see. Well, did you know that when you're sleeping, your brain is actually cleaning the toxins that you were exposed to throughout the day? During the day, your brain doesn't have time to do the cleanup. It's too busy, right? We need our brains throughout the day. But when we're sleeping, it's actually cleaning out all the toxins. In our brain, we got a system called the glymphatic system. It's similar to the lymphatic system in our body, but it's specific to the brain. And this glymphatic system is what is helping us detoxify from toxins that we are exposed to throughout the day. So if you are not getting enough sleep or your child's not getting enough sleep, your brain doesn't get the chance to clean, to remove the toxins that they were exposed to. Okay, it's very important to remember. And a lack of sleep is also detrimental to your child's moods and their capacity to deal with their emotions. So if you are dealing with a child who has problems sleeping, I've got a few tips for you that I just want to share with you. Or even if you're dealing with any sleep issues, these might be things very simple, but sometimes we forget about them. Try and stick the same bedtime and wake time every single day, even on weekends. Your bed should be for sleeping and nothing else. Your brain needs to associate your bed to sleep, okay? The bedroom should be cool and not warm. So we do sleep a lot better in a cool environment. And create a bedtime routine, a series of calm and predictable activities that your child does every single evening. So it's just their body starts to know when it's time to wind down. Start the day with exercise as much as possible and start the day with sunshine. Go to the bus stop 10 to 15 minutes earlier if you need to have the chance to soak in that morning sun, which is known to help with sleep and regulate our hormonal system, okay? If your child tends to stare at the alarm clock, turn it around. What else? Make the room as dark as possible, as dark as they will tolerate it, because that will also have an impact on their deep sleep cycle. Finally, try and maintain a sleep journal. If it's really a problem, have a journal in the morning that you can record what were their evening activities, how was their sleep the night before, did they wake up a lot, at what time did they go to bed, what activities did they do before bed. And they also have a journal for the evening before going to bed to record the daily activities that they did. What did they eat throughout the day? Did they have a lot of sugar that day, or did they not do much exercise, or were they exposed to a lot of stress? It just helps. It helps us to see, have a clearer picture of what's going on and what we can, the little tweaks that we can do that can sometimes make a huge difference. Last but not least, tip number 7, exercise, exercise, exercise. I cannot emphasize this enough. Exercise is key in balancing our hormonal system, as well as increasing the blood flow to our brains, especially for these super active type of kids where the H in ADHD tends to be a problem at home and at school. They do need to move, okay? Exercise increases the production of certain neurotransmitters. One especially, which is known as serotonin, is increase in production when we exercise. That explains that serotonin is also very present in turkey, which can explain why we also feel relaxed and calm after a turkey dinner at Thanksgiving. I think actually it's probably because we eat too much at Thanksgiving, but fortunately, we don't have to wait every year, once a year, to benefit from the presence of serotonin. Just by exercising on a daily basis, you are increasing your production of serotonin. So you're increasing that calm and relaxed feeling, which serotonin is known for. And another thing also you need to know is that ADHD kids especially have a hard time with blood flow to the brain. They tend to have a lazier prefrontal cortex, which explains that blood flows slower to that part of the brain, which can explain why they have so much problems waking up in the morning. So in the morning, their brain is half asleep. So most people, it doesn't take much. We're up and about, and we're productive, and all is well. But for these kids, their brain tends to stay. It takes them a lot more effort to get that part of the brain active. So exercise is really beneficial to increasing that blood flow to that part of the brain. And it can explain why a lot of these kids in the morning can be rude, very disorganized, can be susceptible to tantrums, or just have troubles getting out of bed. I've got one of those. So it's just that it's all has to do with the blood flow that needs to be increased in that part of the brain, because the prefrontal cortex is like their brakes. It tells them what they should do and what they shouldn't do. It helps with organization. It helps with planning. It helps with just not always saying everything that comes to their minds. So it can explain a lot of things. Okay, so these kids really do benefit from exercise. And a few tricks in getting your child to exercise in the morning, I'll just give you a few of them. If you take the bus, once again, leave a few minutes early. Leave 10 to 15 minutes earlier, and play a game at the bus stop if you can. Bring a ball. That's what I do with my child. However, we are the only ones at our bus stop. This might not be possible for you. Or you can, if you can, bike to school with your child. Or if you cannot do that, because work does not allow you to do, or you just don't have time, you can also just walk to the bus stop, take the longer route, take a detour, spend more time outside before getting to the bus stop. Or another tip, Have a mini trampoline inside your house, in your basement, that your child can jump on in the morning to spend that energy or to get them going. Or a punching bag. Some kids, you know, they've got all that. My kids have a lot of aggressive behavior when they're coming home from school because they don't necessarily enjoy school. So if I had a punching bag, I think it would definitely be used on a daily basis. I'm definitely still thinking about that option. Another possibility. What else? So these are all ideas just to get your kids moving in the morning. Okay, especially these kids. Now, so that was it. There it is, those 7 food and lifestyle tips that I know that if you can implement these, will make a difference in your child's mood swings and also mental well-being. Now, if you liked what I shared with you, you are going to love my Facebook Lives that I have planned for you this year. I plan on sharing on gut health, what else? Foods that help to fight depression. We'll be talking about sleep, gluten-free diets. What else? The value of morning routine, body and mind, and how they are interconnected, and so much more. So if you enjoyed what you heard today, you will enjoy what I have planned for you in the next months and months to come. Please share this video with your friends, so they can also benefit from creating healthy brain habits, and to improve their just general mental well-being and daily happiness. If you don't already follow me on Facebook, follow me on Facebook and Instagram. This is where you will find me sharing on a weekly basis content that I believe can make a difference in your mental health. Okay, and click on the follow me button. Let me know that you're following me so I can know that what I'm sharing with you is of value. And what else? I just want to make sure I don't forget anything. So I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I do want to mention it for those of you who don't know me all that well. I don't consider myself an expert. I consider myself a long-time learner, but also a registered holistic nutritionist. So that's really important. But a lifetime learner that just wants to share with you what I learned, what I've read, or what I've tuned into while listening to a podcast that I think can benefit you. Okay, and by following me, we are creating a community of fighters, fighting for the health of our brain so we can become who we are meant to be. Okay, so I can't wait to see you next week. Don't forget, keep creating those healthy habits. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.